What happened?
Recorded. I got to stay on.
Mm-hmm. So we're going to get started this morning because, still do it again?
No, Jody, can you make me the host?
Mm-hmm.
Perfect. And then I'll record. Sorry, you guys.
Okay.
Awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And so we're going to take this 4-hour session and squeeze it into 2 hours. So this session is from 10 to 12. So, but before we get started, let's just open up with a quick word of prayer. Father, in the name of Jesus, Lord, we thank you, God, for another day that you have allowed us to wake up, God, and we have the fullness of the activities and the activities of our limbs, Lord God. We've got strength, God. You have awakened us, God, and instill in us courage and boldness, God, to get up and to be about our business and to do the things that we need to do to keep our businesses thriving, stronger than ever, and moving forward. God, we thank you for every person that's on the line this morning. God bless us, bless our homes. This we ask in the name of Jesus Christ, our Lord. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. So this morning, so let me get out to close that out. Katie, I need to move this out the way. So this morning, can you all see the slide? I just want to make sure. This is actually my first time teaching a Zoom class, so just bear with me. I'm a little bit nervous, but I will get through it. But what successful agents do every day, even in this pandemic outbreak, successful agents are going to do certain things every day, regardless to what the situation or the circumstances are. So every day we're going to make it our business, come hell or high water, to lead generate for buyers and sellers, make sellers listing presentations and get listings, make buyer presentations, get those listings, and preview real estate. And that's to grow our business. And to run our business, we're going to market seller listings, show buyer houses, negotiate contracts, transaction management to closing, vendor management, set goals, compliance and risk management, attend training, get coaching, and money management. How are you all doing right now in terms of, where you are with your business? Are you still out there doing business? Are you still lead generating every day?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. How many hours of lead generating are you doing every day? Can y'all hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. How many hours are you lead generating, Stephanie?
I set aside maybe an hour or so. I can't say that I'm doing the 2 hours, but
Right.
I've been calling past clients.
So when you are out there, Joan, how many hours are you lead generating every day? I'm not trying to put anybody on the spot. I just want you to be truthful right now. Just kind of look at the man in the mirror so we can move forward with where we are.
Probably no more than about, I would say, under an hour. If I'm not texting, reviewing some things and regarding to reaching out to them.
Mm-hmm. All right. Anyone else? How many hours are you lead generating?
About 1 or 2.
Okay.
1 to 2 hours.
Do you feel like that's enough? Yep. Do you feel like you lead generating enough every day?
No.
No. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I want to mention a conversation this morning that goes back to what Deidre said yesterday. Stay in contact with your sphere of influence. I spoke with one of my past clients. I sold her house and then she bought her house to me. But since then, at least 2 commercial properties have been bought in her family. So it's like, keep up with your past clients.
Yeah. So that's a good point. That's a segue into the next conversation. So, and just listening to James Shaw every morning, and he basically says to go into your database and contact every single person that's in our database, right? Regardless to whether we know them or not, or, we look at the database, like you don't remember some people in your database, it doesn't matter. You need to reach out to them, you need to call them, and you need to, if the script conversation is checking in with them to see how they're doing. That's what we need to do. Contact every single person in that database, even the people that we worked with in the past who we weren't so happy in working with. It wasn't a good relationship because we weren't happy about, working with them or excited, but still we need to reach out to them. We need to come from contribution. We need to come from a level of compassion, and check in to see how they are doing. So go into your database and contact every single person that's in your database at this time. Do you agree? All right. So what we'll focus on today is, we already talked about that. So lead generating, that's the key object of this this training session this morning, is lead generate. So right now, what they're saying is the top producers and Gary Keller are saying is that we need to double down on our time with lead generating. So whereas you lead generate in the normal circumstances, you lead generate 2 hours a day, now you need to double down to 4 hours a day, 3 hours in the morning and an hour to hour and a half in the afternoon. So with that being said, we need to power down, right? So right now, with the DTD2 system that's going into your database and using that DTD2 system, and I don't know if anybody is not familiar with what I'm talking about right now, because I don't want to overtalk and lose anybody in the process of this conversation. So if you don't understand what I mean by the DTD2 system, please let me know right now.
Yeah,
Kim,
I
Yes, I
don't.
don't
What is that?
understand.
this is Nicole. Can you explain what doing a database in two means?
So basically, I'm going to try to have my paperwork here. So in the database, when you take Bold, it's the new system that we're using in Bold to reach out to every person in our database. So the DTD2 system is like, you're going to reach out to everybody whose last name begin with A and W. So go into your database and contact all the people whose last names are A and W. So under the normal circumstances in Bold, it was the DTD2. But now, right now, with the COVID pandemic, they want us to double down. So instead of just doing A and W in a day, they want us to do A and W. And I think it's I and I have my paperwork here. It's I and another letter that they want us to make contact with. So now we're doubling down. Instead of 2 alphabets a day, it's 4 alphabets a day. That makes sense?
And that's for the contacts that you have in your phone?
Yeah, it's the contacts that you have in your phone and the contacts that, if you're a Keller Williams agent, then you have a database. Yep, the contacts that you have in your phone and the contacts that you have in your database. So the contacts in your phone, at this point, you should have taken the contacts in your phone and somehow rolled them into your database.
That's command,
You're
right?
not a Keller Williams agent, you still need to have a database. You need to have a database where you're making contacts with your people in your database every day.
And what happens if we go through all of our contacts and we go through the database? What are other forms of lead generating?
So for me, right now, what they're saying is with top producers and Keller Williams coach, MAPS coaches are saying is that right now we need to be step out of the normal strategic plan of action that we had in place. Like if you had a strategic plan of action in place for 2020, they're saying that system may not work. So you have to try a new system. So for me, trying a new system is that I'm making contact more with and stretching my social media contact more. Whereas if I put something out on social media, I'm following to see who's following me, who's saying a message, leaving a message on my page, who's liking what I'm putting there, and I make contact with them. And then I click on their page, right? I make contact with them. If they're not already friend me on social media, I'm reaching out to them for them to friend me. And then that's my first contact. So then I'll go back into my KW command. I just add their name to the database, and then I'll reach back out to them. My intention is, and it hasn't perfected yet, is within 2 days or so, reach back out to them once they have friend me on social media. and just let them know that I'm just reaching out because I'm concerned about how they're doing, their well-being. Do you mind leaving me your contact number? Because I'd like to call you within a day or two to check in on you to see how you're doing. Is it working? Yes. Is it working perfectly? No, because I'm still trying to perfect it. But my intention is growing more, and I'm constantly changing it, because what I'm trying to do now is, my intention is to reach out more to people in the medical field, in medical professions. And so one person that I reached out to, she responded to something that I put out there on social media about my gratitude for people, first line responders, and she's in the medical field. And she responded to me, and through social media, I asked her if she didn't mind, sharing her contact information, her email address, because I'm starting a campaign to reach out to people in the medical field, and I would like to add her to my campaign. And so she responded this morning through Messenger, and she's like, sure, I would love to leave my contact information with you. I appreciate all that you're doing. And she left her information for me. So that's one up that I added to my database, and I can reach out to her. And my intention is to start a campaign for people in the medical field. That's what I'd like to do. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So, so lead generating. So my question is, like, what are you guys doing out there to lead generate at this time? Considering that, they're requiring us to stay at home. So our opportunities for lead generating are not as vast as it would be under normal circumstances. So what are you doing to lead generate right now, to bring in business and to capture more leads, to bring in more prospects, to be able to
It
market
really
to
seems
them?
like phone calls are back in fashion lately, more than anything. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Oh, okay. I just feel like I got so used to texting people and to see how are you doing, and a phone call goes a long way these days. It seems like people really appreciate it. People are isolated and they want to talk to people.
Yeah, so you definitely have to do that. You got to pick up the phone and you got to call people. Texting is okay, but you really need to pick up the phone and have a conversation with them, right? And just figure out, how you doing? Is there anything that I can do to help you at this point? And if it's within your power and, it doesn't put you in harm's way to do it, then, please do that for them. Anyone else? Thank you for sharing.
I actually received in the mail a letter from a neighborhood agent and just checking on me and my family in the mail. And I was like, that is so sweet, to get something in the mail. We don't really, think of that as like a big touch point yet. Right now, if we're all stuck in our houses, it is nice to see that and have mail.
And that's a good point, Katie. I'm glad you mentioned that, because what James Shaw what James Shaw says is that we do have the gift of time right now, right? And that's in paraphrasing, it's in the shift book that God has given us the gift of time right now, the time to do those things that under normal circumstances we wouldn't be able to do, because we're constantly on the go, hustling and bustling. But now we have the gift of time, right? And let's take advantage of the time that we're given to build our businesses up, to stay strong, and to be able to continue to thrive. Because if we're not doing what we need to do, if we're not lead generating right now, it's a high possibility. What they're saying, I'm just like really giving you the softer version, but what they're saying is that if you're not lead generating and doing what you need to do right now, you're going to get kicked out of the game, period. So, all right, the big picture. Understanding the lead generation model provides a larger vision of interconnected tasks and habits and help you fund your big why. So my question to you is, what's your big why? Why did you get into real estate? Let's just take about a minute or two for people to share. Why did you decide to do this? I need some feedback. Why did you decide to do
I'll-
it?
I was working a full-time job and I wanted to be more in control of my life. If I put in more effort, I wanted to make more money. If I put in less effort, I didn't want to just go to the same job every day and whether I was great at it or not, make the same thing.
So Christy, how long have you been in real estate now?
Since 2006, so what is 13 years, it'll be 14 later this year.
Is this your first time? It shouldn't be, but it's not your first time going through a shift, huh?
No, because I was an agent in 2008. However, I was still at the full-time job doing real estate on the side in 2008. So it wasn't quite,
Mm-hmm.
the same for me. I still had that consistent income at that time. So it was a little different, but I was there, I was around it.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Anyone else? Thank you for sharing.
Hello, this is Jaira.
Hi, Jara.
Hi, everyone. I got into it just mainly for my family. As I stated yesterday, I'm actually a full-time worker at a hotel, and I'm actually on furlough. But prior to this, we're always subject to, oh, your hotel's not doing well, we'll get someone else. Oh, they'll just cut you. And you can actually just be performing well, even if they just want to get somebody else in there who they think can do things better or do things in a different style. And I've been in the hospitality industry since I was 19, been in real estate for 5 years when I had my twins. But for me, I really want to get to the point where real estate is my full-time job. So if my kids' school call and they say, hey, it's bring a parent to school day, I don't have to have any reservations of knowing that I can show up for that. And I think for me, and even during this time of COVID-19, family is very important and I want that flexibility. So I'm really trying to use this time, as you say, as a gift to make sure that I'm focusing on what's going to put me and my family first.
Yeah, I agree. So yeah, we do have the gift of time. And how desperate are you right now to make that happen, Jaira?
I wouldn't say desperate, but I'm definitely motivated now more than ever. It would be ideal if I can, instead of going back to work once this is over, that I actually do real estate full time. That would be my desire.
Yeah, okay. Anyone else? Thank you for sharing. What's your big why? That's the question that I'm asking right now. You got to have a big why. You got to look beyond, I got into real estate, but you got to have a big why. Why did you decide to do this? Because, real estate sometimes it's a tough market and you got to be a tough cookie to handle, the real estate market. And in tough times like this, when there's a shift going on and you can't get out and do the normal things that you're normally accustomed to doing. Now is the time to think about that. Like, what is your big why? Why do you want to do this? Because you got to step out of your comfort zone and be able to do something different. Things that, under normal circumstances, the mindset has to shift along with our actions right now. So mindset has to shift.
Okay.
So anyone else?
Stephanie.
Hey, Steph.
All right. I got into real estate. I got my license in 2006. And at that time, I was still working with Capital One as a business banker full time. And at that time, I wanted to do something that was more independent, more in my control. And I planned to phase out of banking into something that was more just, under my control. And in 2009, I left the bank. And at that time, I thought I wasn't ready, but I decided I would be ready and decided to, when I left the bank, I said, I'll make it or break it in real estate. And I've been full-time in real estate since August of 2009. It hasn't been a rough trip. In fact, right after I got my license, that's when, 07, 08 with the crash. And so I'd had my license before, 20 some years prior to that, but I decided this time I'd stay and learn the business so that when we came out on the other side, I would know what I was doing. You know, this is a very important purchase and you need to know what you're doing, because it's, you know, it's not like you can return the house like a pair of shoes. So financial freedom and financial, being able to control my financial destiny was my prime reason for doing it. But I also know that this is an important transaction for people and that you can't just be willy-nilly when you're doing it.
Right. All right. You have to be, that's a good point. You have to be consistent every day. You can't just be on and off with lead generating. Oh, I'm gonna lead generate strong today and then I'm not gonna do it tomorrow because I've got other things. The primary point and the primary focus each and every day is to get up, of course, do our inspiration, have our inspirational time, do our aspirations, get out, get motivated, get excited, and go out and smile and dial, lead generate. And not just 2 hours, but 4 hours a day is what they're requiring of us. 3 hours in the morning and an hour to an hour and a half in the evening. That's what we have to do. You've got to lead generate. So there are the two terms here. Lead generation model talks about prospecting and marketing. Anyone who has read the Shift book or even the MREA book, it talks about prospecting and marketing. So at this time, prospecting, we need to be able to capture some leads. So with that being said, those prospects are those people that we have the potential of reaching out to every day. So while we have to limit our time in the grocery store right now, out and about, the question is, what are we doing right now in terms of prospecting? For me, once again, it is tapping more into social media because I can do that strong all day long. I'm in my house and I'm working and I can tap into the social media more. So what are you doing to prospect right now? Or you can make those phone calls in your database on your phone. If you don't have a database at this time, call every single person that's in your phone right now. Whether you know them or not, it doesn't matter. Reach out to them, come from contribution, use your 3 C's, compassion, care, and use some common sense when we reach out to them and find out from them, you know, what is it that we can do. We just want to check in, make sure they're okay. You may not remember me at this time, but you know, you're in my phone and I just want to check in to see how you are doing. Anything that I can do to help you at this particular time. And by the way, I know it's a tough market, but do you know of anyone out there that's looking to buy, sell, or invest in real estate at this particular time? Of course, use common sense when you're reaching out to them. If you feel like that's not a conversation they're ready for at that time, common sense tell you don't, you know, have that conversation, but just reach out to them. Any questions? All right, so when you get it, also when you are prospecting and marketing, make sure you do what's called the MOFIR, the call to action. Make sure that you have, if you have their contact name, I mean, you have their phone number in your database, but you don't have their email address. When you reach out to them, call them and ask them, you know, do you mind if I get your email address? Do you mind if I get your home address? I'd like to send you, you know, reach out to you and send you a card of encouragement. In about 2 weeks, you'll receive something from me in the mail. So while you're prospecting with them, get their contact information so that you can add that to your database and start them on a smart plan right now, especially those that are Keller Williams agents with our command system. We have the time to be able to do that. So get the information that you need, put them on a smart plan, and follow through with making steady contact with them. All right. So that's all about cultivating the business. Hopefully within that process, you do have people, I haven't looked at the numbers yet, and I know if Jody's still on the line, but how many properties went on the market as of today? Jody, are you there? She may be back still in the office meeting.
I'm here.
Okay. How many properties went on the market today? Because there are properties that are still going on the market. People are still buying. People are still negotiating. Things are going under contract, and stuff is still closing. So
We had 15 new listings within the last 24 hours, 6 back on the market, and 16 under contract pending continue to show or open pred. So, and 9 sold, and those numbers will increase throughout the day as new listings come on and properties that were closed yesterday get noted as changed to sold.
Right.
So
have y'all noticed a spike in the amount of properties that have decreased their price, especially in like the the $200,000 to $300,000 range?
they had 12 price adjustments yesterday. Most of those are leases. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 of the 12 were leases that were adjust prices.
Okay. All right. Appreciate that. Thanks, Jody. So, any questions at this point? I know I'm moving fast because it's a 4-hour session. I'm trying to get it all in it within 2 hours. So right now, part 1, lead generating, B, prospecting base, marketing enhance. So use this time to lead generate, lead generate, lead generate. So the question is with that, what is your intention in reaching out to, how do you feel about, what is your mindset? Let me ask it that way. What is your mindset in you going into your database and reaching out to every single person that's in your database right now? Not skipping that one person, not skipping a person. What's your mindset on that? How do you feel about that?
Doing it. It's hard to do because I started doing it last week. And then there were some people that I wanted to skip over because I hadn't talked to them. I figured they wouldn't remember me. But I said, what can it hurt? What it's no anyway if I don't call. So just follow through.
Yeah. Anyone else?
In my opinion on cold calling and lead generating is that I consider myself professional and I'm providing a service to the public. So reaching out to these people and asking them if they have any real estate needs or if they know anybody that has any real estate needs. And being professional about it, of course, is my job, and it's just, I kind of just goes with the territory,
Okay. Thank you for sharing. Anyone else? Picking up the phone and making those calls. What is your mindset with that? We need to talk about that because that is a big part of where we are and why we're having these sessions right now. Your mindset. How do you feel about that? Because you have to pick up the phone and you have to make those calls.
I can tell you I'm a little bit intimidated by it. And I think most of it comes with where I have positioned myself to my contacts, having a full-time job and doing real estate part-time. I'm picking up the phone, asking for business when I know previously I had to refer some clients out just because my full-time job took a lot of my time. So I'm a little nervous and scared that if I get those questions like, well, are you doing this full-time? And, kind of like making sure that I'm all in and ready to go, but I'm a little nervous about it. I'm just be honest, because I feel like I am in a little bit of a limbo and I haven't taken that leap of faith yet.
All right. Okay. I appreciate your honesty. So with that being said, to get out of that level of intimidation, one of the things that we need to do every day is practice scripts. How many of you are familiar with that? Practicing your scripts every day. Make it a priority and time managing some time to practice your scripts, practicing having conversations with these people. If you have someone in your house, even if it's just, using a family member to practice scripts and get on the phone and make that call. And so Jaira, since if it's okay,
yeah,
I'm gonna just kind of put you on the spot, and we're all in this together, okay?
Yeah,
so don't feel like I'm not picking on you or anything, but just putting you on the spot. So Jaira, when you make that phone call, you should have a script that you are working from at this time. It's a pretty easy script, and basically the script is, you're coming from a form of caring, right? So when you make that call, you just say, hi, Mr. Sam. This is Jaira Rayford with Keller Williams Realty. I know we haven't talked in 2-3 years, but my call is, I'm just calling to check in with you to see how you and your family are doing at this time. And is everything okay? Are you guys staying safe, staying well, and staying home? And people, you just never know where people are, in this situation. And you have some people right now that have family members that they've lost to the virus, or they know someone. They have a next door neighbor. I have a next door neighbor whose husband was hospitalized on a ventilator with the virus. And, I've been reaching out to her more, whereas on the every day, we rarely see each other because we come and go. And, just so happen, we're communicating more now. We're talking more because she was comfortable in sharing with me, that her husband was in the hospital. And so I've been reaching out to her more. So when you make that call, just be yourself, just be natural, right? You don't have to just try to be something that you're not, but just be natural in your conversation with them. So here I am someone in your database, right? In your phone that you're reaching out to, and you haven't talked to me in 2 years. So you ring the phone and I pick up and answer. Let's just role play for a couple of seconds or so. Okay.
Okay.
Ring the phone.
Ring, ring.
Hello.
Hey, Kim, this is Jaira. How are you doing today?
Hey, Jaira. Jaira who? I don't remember you.
It's been a long time. It's Jaira Rafe and I. Actually, I just got married. I helped you with your house to sell it about 2 or 3 years ago on Peachtree Street.
Oh, yeah. How are you? Yes.
I'm fine. With everything going on, I'm just reaching out to previous customers that I work with to see how they're doing, their health and well-being. So I just wanted to see how you're doing, Kim.
I'm good. I appreciate you calling. Thank you. I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing well. Trying to do the homeschooling with these kids is a little bit challenging.
Yes. Well, I get that. I understand.
It's my son right here. But yeah, we're just, going through everything. How's your family making out?
We're doing well. Everybody's good. Everybody's staying healthy. Trying to get my kids to be comfortable with being at home all day long, but we're good. Thank you.
Yes, it's definitely a new normal for everyone, and just trying to make sure we get through this together. And I definitely want to let you and your family know I'm here for support or anything. And if you need me to pick anything up for you, just let me know. I'll be happy to do that for you.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. So let me know if you need anything else, and I'll be happy to help you guys.
Okay, I appreciate it. Okay.
I didn't feel like the conversation was national enough to be like, hey, if you need me some real estate,
Is it, so my question is to you, now I'm stepping out of, I just stepped out and I'm going back to the instructional side. So my question to you, before you disconnected with me, would you feel comfortable saying, hey, do you mind, at this point, I have your contact number, but do you mind if I get your email address and are you still at 123 Peachtree at this particular time? Because I definitely would like to, add you to my campaign that's forthcoming at this time. Is that okay?
Yeah, I would feel comfortable with that. I think me not having my script there and not knowing the next step on that. But yeah, I would have felt comfortable having that conversation.
Yeah. So I'll ask, like we have in our KW Facebook group page, we have scripts there that agents can use at this time to practice with, and happy to share that information with you, those scripts with you, so you can get comfortable with the script. Anyone else want to quickly go over scripts real quick? Because you got to get there, guys. So don't feel like don't feel intimidated by it. We're all in this together. No one has arrived with perfecting scripts at this point. We just want to get comfortable with it. When you make those calls, you've got to be able to comfortably be able to make contact with people and have conversation with them. All right. Anyone else? Once, twice, 3 times? Okay, we're gonna move on. So basically, there are some pages in the shift book. Before we do that, I'm going to connect us to a video that I want us to watch very quickly. New share. Where is it? I'm looking for that video right now. While I'm doing that, we're just gonna have this conversation with you about anyone who doesn't move to mastering lead generation usually gets shifted right out of the business. That's in the shift book, page 57. So basically, if you're not mastering or attempting to master, and it's okay if you not able to lead generate 3 hours in the morning and an hour and a half in the afternoon, if that's a challenge, at least start, right? Start, and don't say, okay, I did 30 minutes a day, just be happy with that every day. You might have to do 30 minutes a day because some things may come up that you may have to attend to. But if you erase that time that you lead generating, you have to find time in your schedule to replace that time. So if you didn't lead generate 3 hours a day and you did only an hour today, then you still have 2 hours, 3.5 hours of lead generation that you have to make up that time somewhere along the way. So in your time management and in your schedule, you have to put on there that you need to go back and replace that time that you did not lead generate today. Does that make sense? What do you think about that idea? All right. So the law of equilibrium, and that's coming from the shift book, and the law of equilibrium tells us, whenever we shift, our mindset has to shift with that. So if business is shifting right now, so does our mindset. So if the business is shifting, whereas we have to stay at home and work from home more, then we have to change our mindset to be able to shift with the equilibrium of the actions that are taking place right now. So even with us working from home and having to spend more time with family or attend to the kids more, spend time making sure that the kids are educated or whatever we have to do, caring for elderly people at this time, we still have to do our lead generating time. So for some, that may mean re-evaluating your schedule every day. If you get up at 6 o'clock in the morning every day, you might need to get up at 5 a.m. now, because you got to get up, you got to get yourself motivated, you got to do your inspirational, you have to have your devotional time, your inspiration time, or whether you journal write or you're in prayer, whatever you do to motivate yourself and to get inspired. You have to have that motivation, because things are going to come along, things are going to happen that are going to just want to sift all of your energy from you, and you have not done nothing to take care of your business for the day. So you got to have that resilience factor. I'm just going to set these pages. I'm not going to go over them, but the resilience factor, you have to be able to know how to bounce back from this. Because there are a lot of agents right now, believe it or not, folks out there, this is our opportunity to get in there and to really take territory, right? You got that time, you got that gift of time. This is your opportunity to take territory. So for all of those agents that you felt, oh, okay, you feel intimidated by because they've been in the business X, Y, and Z amount of time. If those people are not doing business right now, they're probably not gonna survive this this market after the COVID-19 flattens out, because it's a new. There are some things that are gonna change, and they're gonna change permanently. So with being able to reach out to your clients and to make contact with them, you have to be able to make those adjustments. Once again, you have that gift of time. You got the time to upgrade. You got the time to reevaluate, to top grade and retool your systems. You've got the time to be able to do that. So for those agents that are a part of Keller Williams who have the command system, this is your time to upgrade your command system, to get more knowledgeable about what you need to do to master that command system. Because I have the time now, and there are some things that I'm doing, like when I'm going through my database right now, I'm going through every single prospect or person in my database, and I'm trying to make sure that I have my intentions to make sure that I have their not only their contact information, email address, phone number. I need their home addresses right now, so I'm calling them to get that. I need to know their birthdays, so I'm mastering all of that right now, revaluing and retooling my system to be able to reach out and stretch out more, and adding them to the SMART plan as well, so that I can make more contact with them. You got to find the motivation to keep going and keep moving forward. Know your scripts. We talked about that. The 3 C's: have care, compassion, and some common sense. So what are you doing every day to motivate yourself? What are you doing? Are we there?
Yes, we're here.
Yes.
What are you doing to motivate yourself?
Kim, what I'm doing, the links that Jody sends to us in the email at the various times or whatever, I'm clicking on those links and I'm going to the various inspirational, motivational teachings and different things like that. It's a great opportunity that we're having right now, you know, to learn all this thing, because right now, like you brought up, someone mentioned about having the gift of time. I mean, this is one way, I mean, a fabulous way to have the time pass, you know, is learning and building our knowledge. So when we do get back out there, we're prepared.
Yeah, yeah.
Well,
anyone else?
As connecting with other agents that you've been connecting with before, but staying in contact with other agents. Actually, I have, you know, more time to surf the Facebook. And so some of the stories there are inspiring to me. So they, you know, when you might tend to veer off track, they put you back on track and put things back in perspective for me.
All right, anyone else? Are you willing to do whatever it takes at this time? Are you willing to do whatever it takes? Are you willing to double down on your calls? Are you willing to do that? How are you going to double down? How are you going to do that? Because if you're doing like an hour and a half right now, how are you going to stretch yourself from an hour and a half to doing 3 hours and then an hour and a half in the evening? What are you going to do? How do you plan to, what are your intentions with that? What's your strategic plan for that?
It's a matter of being motivated to do it, and also gradually increase. If you can't do it all at one time, as you said, you know, if you can't do the 3 in the morning, you know, or 4 at one time, do 2 and 2, or 2 and a half, 2 and one half, you know, maybe find a way to get it in. If you have, you know, because everybody's not the same, just find a way to get it in.
Anyone else?
I totally agree. And I think that even if you have to break it down into increments of 30 minutes, because of, you know, what's going on in your world, your kids, your family, that kind of stuff. And I think the other thing as well is think about, it's not just lead generating. So if a lot of folks are uncomfortable with lead generating, or in some cases you may have not spoken to them for a while, so in your mind you're thinking that it's a cold call, just change that lead gen mindset to care calls right now. Just check in with them. I think it was a great script that that you guys did earlier. Just check in. You don't even have to ask for business now, because they know if you care now during this time, then when you go to make your follow-up call in a month from now or 3 weeks from now, now is a perfect time to rebuild all of the relationships that we let drop off. For those of us that have been in the business for a while that maybe haven't spoken to clients that we worked with 2 years ago and 3 years ago. So use it as a check-in, and then that way you're building the relationship to earn the right to ask them for their business in 3 months from now, or wherever it may be, 2 months from now or next month.
Thank you. Anyone else? So with that being said, my question is, one other question that I'm going to ask at this time: what is your schedule like now that you are spending more time at home? What's your schedule like now? Have you changed your actions and what you do on a normal basis? Have you doubled up, or have you doubled down, or you just kind of like, oh, I'm gonna lead generate today, but I'm not gonna lead generate tomorrow? What's your what are you doing right now every day? What's your regular schedule? Like, what time do you wake up in the morning? I'm gonna be real specific. What time do you get up?
It does start with that. You have to start with, okay, I'm used to working from home. This is, my environment every day. But the difference is that I would have calls to go out on. Now we're just staying in and doing whatever we do on the phone or, via Zoom. But it starts with, you have to start and get a routine. Like you had a routine when you were going out to work. You have to start to get a routine and make that routine, and that's what routine is, consistency. You have to be consistent in what you do. So you have to start with, okay, I'm gonna do this. And as Deirdre said yesterday, you have to time block. We all time block so that we knew where we were gonna be from 10 to 12 today.
Right. So anyone, when we talk about time blocking, let's just quickly talk about that. Are we familiar with time blocking? Do you time block every day? So I have here, this is my planner that I use every day. And I'm still doing the same thing that I would do on a normal basis, time block. So every morning, 7 to 7:15, I time block that time, get up at 5, between 4:30 and 5, do my morning devotion, my morning worship, and 7:15, I'm on the call with James Shaw. That's my inspirational time where I'm getting motivated, getting extra pepped up is what I say, because I'm motivated before I join the line. And then from 9 to 9:30, I'm on a call with my my accountability partner. So that's another thing. You need to have an accountability partner. You need to have someone who's not going to just like soften you, but someone who's going to pep you up and, and let you know when you're not on target. It's not always a friend, but someone who's your accountability partner and say, hey, did you do your lead generating today? You told me you were going to 30 minutes, increment and lead generate in 30 minutes. Did you do that today? Who did you call? How was that conversation with that person? So, or we talk about things that conversational pieces, what, the 15-minute motivation session was with James Shaw. We talk about that. We talk about what we need to do. Like my accountability partner, she is, prior to COVID, she was buying a lot of leads from Zillow and Trulia. And right now, what they're saying is that, you want to really cut those expenses because you're not making the money that you would normally make. So you need to really go through your expense sheet and start sifting away stuff that, you cannot afford to pay for right now. So you need to go through your finances and see what it is that you can cut at this particular time. Make sense?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Kim, when you mentioned accountability partner, some people, you need that because, right, being self-employed, you figure I don't have to answer to anyone. But when you have to, and it's not a bad thing. It's like, okay, if you don't have to answer to anyone, when you slip off, nobody cares or it doesn't matter. But when you have someone that it just keeps you in check to keep you on track. That's all it's, that's what an accountability partner is. You have somebody that you have to report to. And it's like, well, why aren't you doing it? I thought you said you wanted to do this. So in order to do that, you need to do these things.
Yeah, you have to, absolutely. You have to protect your time with lead generating. So during that time, while you're making those calls, to reaching out to people, you have to find a way to build a barrack to protect your time for lead generating. You've got to make sure that that time is well protected. So put that on your schedule. If you, for those individuals, and I know there are a lot of people already who do this on a regular basis, where they prepare a schedule and they have everything on their schedule. So if it's not on your schedule, it does not exist. If you don't put lead generating on your schedule, then literally it just doesn't exist. So you're not going to do it on a regular basis, and you're not going to be serious about getting that done. So I know some people, like with lead generating, I don't have a a green marker with me, but like lead generated and the things that'll bring me money, I'll highlight them green. Stuff that's yellow, I may be able to have someone do that for me at that particular time. But you want to color code the times that you have on your schedule to know that you need to get that done. So lead generating is prime. With all the training that's going on right now, online training, virtual training, take advantage of that and get those training times and add that to your schedule. So even if you 30 minutes lead generating and then you want to do an hour and listen to some online training, virtual training, add that to your schedule so that you can learn we can all learn how to manage our time better these days. So they have this, I don't know where Katie is, but I'm trying to add this video to it. All right, so.
All right, Kim.
Yep, Katie.
Go into the video.
Go to the video, okay.
New share.
Okay, all right, here we go. So this is about a 3 to 5 minute video.
Hang on, it's not on yet.
Okay.
Did you click the screen with the video and then share?
Let me do this. Let's get out of here. New share.
New share. Click on highlight the video in blue.
Right.
Then click share again.
Okay.
There we go. And unplug your headphones.
Oh, there we go.
You're good to go.
Margin business. Number 3, do more with less. About the shift. There are so many uncertainties that are going on right now, and I'm sure many of you are concerned, and I want to put you at ease today. Many of you have read the book, The Shift, by Gary Keller, Dave Jinks, and Jay Papasan. And I just want to tell you, if you've not read it, this is the time to pick it up, because we're going to talk about 12 tactics that will help you to get through tough times. So tactic number 1 is where we're going to concentrate today, and that is get real, get right, and it is all about mindset and action. But there are 12 tactics that will help us in these tough times. The number 2 tactic is remargin your business. Number 3, do more with less. Number 4, find the motivated. Number 5, get to the table. And number 6, catch people in your web. Number 7 is price ahead of the market. Number 8, stand out from the competition. Number 9, create urgency. Number 10, expand the options. Number 11, master the market of the moment. And number 12, bulletproof the transaction. So we're going to be talking about these tactics over the next 12 days, actually. Imagine that. And today we are talking about mindset. So mindset and action. Decide what your priorities are and how much time you'll spend. If you don't, someone else will. And what I want to encourage you on is there are many agents that are sitting inside of their 4 walls. And if they have concerns, that's exactly where they need to be. However, I want to tell you, this is opportunity. There is market share to gain. So get your fair share of that market share, right? So here's what I know. When a shift occurs, confusion follows. So what we have to be the calm in the storm. Don't let yourself panic. Keep fear at bay. We must make a mental shift, and then it becomes an action shift, right? Success is never about the chosen few, but always about the few who choose. While everyone won't succeed in a shift, some will, and here's what you need to know. Anyone can. I said anyone can. You must be the anyone that can. Your mindset does matter. So get into positive thoughts. Get up in the morning. Do affirmations. Speak positive words out of your mouth, right? There is power in the tongue. When you do the right things, you leave fear behind. Now is the time to double down. Double down on your business. Double down on your lead generation. Double down on your activities. And I'm going to leave you with this. Understand what worked yesterday probably won't work today. When the market shifts, new strategies are required and new actions are absolutely critical. So here's how I encourage you. I want to talk to you about showings through Showing Time. We did some research this morning. Last week, 1 week ago, 749 showings took place with all of our Keller Williams listings. This past week, there have been 794 showings. That's an increase, guys. So I want to share with you, mindset matters. So get your mind where it needs to be. Make that shift and take this opportunity for what you need it to be for you and your family. Hey, guys, I hope you have a great day, and I'll talk to you soon. Hey, guys, I'm coming to you today.
It's back in.
So what do you think? What are some, okay, what I do?
So go to, at the bottom, share screen.
Yeah.
And now click on the PowerPoint
Yep.
that we were in,
Okay.
and then click share.
Okay.
There you go.
All
Good
right,
job,
good.
Kim.
Thank you, Katie. If it wasn't for Katie, I'd be a ball of nerves. Thank you. So what are some ahas? What are some things that you can take away from that conversational piece from Craig? What did you hear? Did we hear anything? Hey, y'all, I need y'all to talk to me.
Mindset.
Yes.
Not to be afraid.
Right. Be the calm in the storm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Think of new strategies.
There you go.
Creative and strategic success. What worked yesterday may not work today.
Right. Good point. Yep. That's what I was going to say too, Deidre. Thank you for sharing that. So what worked, I would say too, I'm going to just capitalize on that because that's something that I took from that as among other things. What worked yesterday probably won't work today. What do you think of that thought? So what did you do yesterday or prior to COVID-19 and you're trying to make it work today and it's not working out? What do you do in terms of that? Any feedback from that statement alone?
For one thing, a lot of times we can't show property. We have to do it virtually. And we started virtual showings through title companies about 2 years ago. So that's one thing, virtual showings.
So my question is, thank you. Anyone else? So now that we have to do, we've got to do more virtual showings, how many of us are taking the time out right now, since we do have the gift of time, to learn how to do virtual, get that training that we need to learn how to do those virtual showings? Or are we just like on the sideline, like just waiting for this to just pan over and we'll just go back to business as normal? Because it may not be normal anymore, what we did in the past. Now that virtual showings is becoming a popular thing, people are grasping at and they're taking advantage of that opportunity. What do you think of that? Are you educating yourself to be able to learn how to do virtual showings? Like some agents, especially older ones, and no offense to what I'm saying, is we're not accustomed to all this technology stuff, and it's kind of taking us out of our comfort zone. What are we doing about that? Mm-hmm.
Kim, on my list, I saw, I don't know if it was the board, NOMAR, that said that they were going to have a Zoom class, or it's probably somewhere else. I may have seen it, I'm not sure, but I want to learn how to host like what we're doing right now. Mm-hmm. So that, hey, who knows, you can do that with your client to take and write up a new listing agreement or a purchase agreement or whatever. Mm-hmm. So that's on my top of my list, to learn how to function and operate Zoom, or to host a Zoom.
Right, right.
And one thing we can do is go to our listings and make sure we have great videos.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yes, that is so true. Anyone else? Thank you, Deidre. Thank you, Joan.
So because this is Nicole, so because we won't be able to do face-to-face, even listen appointments and buyer consultation, is possibly looking at what you currently do in person and make it virtual. So,
all right. So we're still having this conversation talking about virtual, doing virtual business now. And is anyone like intimidated by the virtual transition that we have phased into at this point? How do you feel about that? Mm-hmm.
About 2 weeks ago, I had a client who said he was ready to buy, and then he ghosted me. I could see that he was still looking, but he wasn't returning my calls. He wasn't returning the text. So one day I FaceTimed him, and he, we talked probably about 10, 15 minutes. He says, "I'm so glad you did this." So I think maybe sometimes you want to get permission, but if you don't, you can always try it.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
you just try something new.
Try something new. Yeah,
And
it is.
When I did reach out to him, he says, "I'm glad you did this."
Mm-hmm. And so that's a good point. So as I was listening this morning to James Shaw and company on the Zoom meeting this morning, they were talking about like failure, right? It's okay that if we're trying something and it's not working out, and we're failing at that, don't get caught up in the fact that it didn't work out. Right now, we are trying things to see what works and what does not work. So if it works, keep going with it. And if it doesn't work, then bring it to an immediate halt. It's like stop it immediately, because we cannot afford to lose time. We have to be purposeful in our strategic plans and our moves these days. So yeah, so we are trying, things to see what works and what doesn't work at this time. Is that true? You believe that? You agree with that?
Yes, and we have to fail forward.
Yes. Yeah, we do. What do you mean by that, Deidre?
What I mean by that is that you keep on trying,
Mm-hmm.
right? The only thing that beats a failure is a try.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Thomas Edison, everybody that invented something, they kept trying. They didn't give up. If Thomas Edison had given up, somebody else would have invented electricity, but it wouldn't have been him. So we have to keep going.
All right.
Fail forward.
So on the call right now, successful people do fail, right? We all know that, right? And we have our moments of failure. Sometimes we fail once, twice, 3 times. What president was that?
Fall down 7, get up 8.
Yes, you fall down. So there's from a biblical perspective, it says that a wise person falls, but every time he falls, he's able to get back up again. So when we are failing, it's okay. Don't get so caught up in your mind that you feel like you can't break out of that. It's okay to fail, and it's okay. The good thing about it is that once we fail, we find a way to get back up and keep moving forward. All right. Any questions, any concerns? All right, going to the database there. Any questions or concerns? I just want to move us forward. In the database, so those that are Keller Williams agents, are you familiar with this picture in this database, our command system here, right? You see that? So when you're going through your command system, make sure that you using that DTD2 system, which is now the DT. It has been modified, COVID-19 DTD4 system, and going through your database and making contact with every person in that database. And while you're making contact with them, pick up the phone, make the call, and look in your database to see, what information you are missing from them at this particular time. Of course, you're coming from caring, but then, in using common sense, see if you can make that call to action to just get some additional information for them. If you want to start a campaign right now, this is your time to just find your niche and who you want to reach out more to at this time. For some, it might be you want to reach out more to people who are in the medical field. You might feel like this is your niche and your opportunity to reach out to people who are truck drivers right now. They're working hard, they're around the clock. This might be your opportunity to reach out to people who are servicing or taking care of elderly people right now. This is your niche and your opportunity to do that. Do you feel like if in doing that, that's insensitive to do that at this particular time? Because it's all really about the mindset and where your mind is and how you perceive things at this time. Let's talk about that very quickly. Anyone?
Okay, Kim, so some people are feeling like it's insensitive. So can some people offer some suggestions?
Well, I was one of those people until yesterday when I talked to Deidre, because I am the type that will just reach out just because that's just me. And I just felt it was awkward to bring up, you know, being a realtor. But like Deidre said yesterday, and then Kim, you said today, you know, it's more about being compassionate, you know, just if people feel like that you are genuinely reaching out to them because you want to help or you are concerned, then they'll think about you later down the road, you know, if they want to buy or sell a house or know somebody that wants to buy or sell a house. So I think it's definitely changing your mind, but you have to be intentional in wanting to change your mind and kind of being comfortable with being uncomfortable right now.
All right.
Yeah, I love that. I actually reached out to a few people that I used to wait tables with to check on them and see how they're doing and just let them know that I'm thinking of them and their families during this time. So it's definitely going back to, you know, previously what you did, who you worked with, and other jobs, checking on them as well.
Anyone else? I want everybody to feel comfortable in this conversational piece. It's all it is just a great big conversational piece that we're having right now for people to feel comfortable in sharing what they need to share, and then break us out of where we are and to elevate us and to move us forward. And that's all we're doing. So your answer is not a crazy, your response or what you say, guess what? Somebody else is feeling the same exact way. So I just want you to feel comfortable with that. Anyone else want to share? All right, so that's just basically these slides are pretty much kind of like repeating themselves, but leads, you have valid contact information, can have a one-way conversation where you are seeking permission. That's your lead. Your contacts is you have valid contact information, have received permission to have a two-way conversation. So are you comfortable with making that call and reaching out to those people in the past and saying to them, you know, like for some of my clients, I'll just go back to me. For some of my clients, especially those that are landlords right now that own multiple properties, I try to stay in the loop and stay knowledgeable on what is happening and what I can do to offer to them in terms of their CARES Act. And, you know, a lot of them are saying, you know, basically they're losing money, which is the norm right now because their tenants are not able to make their monthly payments. And so, you know, the way I'm reaching out to them is like, hey, hey, John, I just want to reach out to you. Are you familiar with the CARES Act at this particular time as it relates to you as a landlord? And some will say, yes, you know, I am familiar with it. Are you familiar with the opportunities that are available to you at this particular time? They may say, well, no. And then I'll just say, well, can I call you at, you know, 10 o'clock tomorrow morning to have that conversation? And if you're like, sure, yeah, you're happy, I'm happy. Yeah, please do that. You make that call and you give them some information that they're not familiar with. Everybody just, you know, keep in mind that you might be an avid reader. You like reading, you like knowledge. I like reading and I like sharing knowledge with people. So reaching out to them and sharing that knowledge with them, you don't think they would appreciate that? Appreciate you, you know, caring enough to share some information with them and what they can do at this point to help, you know, elevate their mindset, because some are very just stricken in a sense that they're not, making the money that they normally make from, their rental income, and people are not able to pay them right now. Like I had a client call me this morning, and he was a little bit upset. I guess he called to have a woe moment with me. He was a little bit upset because one of his clients, she's still working. She still works, and she's still able to make her monthly payment, and so he feels like she's just taking advantage of what's happening right now, and she's not paying him. And so she basically told him that, she don't have to pay him, and she's just gonna ride it out, right? And I was like, yeah, I understand what you're saying. I understand, yeah, she should be paying you, but right now, let's just get you out of your head of frustration, and let's take you a little bit further and put you in a different space within your head, right? Yeah, you can't evict her right now. You can't do any of that, but let me do this. Let me reach out to my CPA and have a conversation with him. Let me do a little bit of more research here and see, what opportunities and what assistance is available to you as a landlord to help you right now, to help you, with your finances, right? And so you can have those conversations with people, and they appreciate that. What do you think of that conversation? What do you think of that?
Well, I would suggest that we all come up, because that was a script. What you first said was a script.
Mm-hmm.
So I would want all of us to come up with a script right now. And we call our client, and if they don't answer, we can send it to them in a text message.
Mm-hmm.
But come up with our own script about how we're coming from care. And we really are. We want to know that everybody is okay, right?
Mm-hmm.
And also let them know that we are here for them.
Right.
So it's a script. Everything is a script.
Right. Right. But the objective is, and the bottom line is that you have to pick up the phone. You got to get in your mindset. You gotta get your mind straight to pick up the phone and make that call to people, and not make assumptions about where people are and what they're thinking and how they're feeling. You don't know that until you pick up the phone and you make that call. Mm-hmm. Mm. So in lead generating, going back to the command system, and I'm gonna find that going back to this slide here in the command system. Every time you pick up the phone and you make that call, while you're working, you need to be able to have your database or your command system set up, that when you make that call, that you're making notes. You can add to your notes in the command system the last time you call, what you talked about, and how you need to follow up with that particular person, that particular lead in your database. You need to be able to make those calls and constantly stay intact in constant contact with them. So you might ask them, for a landlord or an investor right now, hey, listen, I do want to make sure that, I'm checking in with you to make sure that you're okay. How is business right now? And they may say, oh, I'm still working on this house that I'm building on. Things are a little bit slow right now. Take it into the conversation and ask them, well, just out of concern, how far have you gotten, with, building a house right now? And by any chance, are you ready to put it on the market at this particular time? You can ask that question. And they may say, well, no, I'm not ready at this time. Well, what do you think about the market right now? You can open up that question. That's the one thing that they talked about this morning too. You can ask them, call your clients and ask them, is it okay? Use common sense. What do you think is happening in the market right now? I'm just calling and, just asking some quick questions. What do you think is happening in the market right now? So you got to have that conversational piece to be able to communicate with them, and just to kind of see where they are in their thought process and how they feel about the market right now. So are you still doing your homework with every day analyzing the market and taking a look at the market to see what is happening in the market right now? I'm asking the question. Are you still taking that time out to review the market? Take a look at it, see what's going on. See who in your database, while you're making calls using the D2 system, who you can communicate with and have those conversations with about the market right now. Any questions? Any concerns? Any comments? Am I doing bad or am I doing good? Y'all tell me. I mean, I don't know. This is my first time, you know, doing virtual. Am I?
Kim, you're doing awesome.
Okay. All right. Oh, thank you. I need those.
You are doing good, and it's so
aspirations.
lonely by yourself. I know. I was there yesterday. I feel you.
So right now, we are still in this conversation talking about learning to manage your database. So who right now is taking advantage of the gift of time that we're given at this time to do better at managing our database? Anyone on the line or in the meeting right now who has learned to perfect command and is mastering their database? We'd like to learn from you. So that means no one. Okay?
I don't know about perfecting, but I'm definitely tuning in and fine tuning my database by collecting as much information and having it in one place so that when I go, like I can rotate, you know, and start from the top again. So I'm making sure I have accurate information.
Right, absolutely. I agree with that. Thank you for that. Definitely mastering that database that KW or Steph, I know you're, I don't think you're a KW agent, but you probably have a database, right?
Correct.
You have a database, and mastering that database and making that database a one-stop shop for us, right? So going into that database and getting the information and whatever training we need to learn how to master that database, putting that on our schedule every day to be able to master and learn how to improve our knowledge with learning how to master that database. So custom tags. Are we familiar with the custom tags? I know, Steph, that's you're not a KW agent, but still, it doesn't matter. It's okay. But custom tags. Are you going into your database and learning how to create custom tags for each of your clients so that you can know how to filter your clients? You can know how to create sub-filters for your clients when you need to send out information, how to connect with the clients that you need to connect with at a particular time of whatever objective you're trying to reach at a particular time.
No, I hadn't done the custom tags, but that's a good idea. As you said, you can filter and then target just those people at that time instead of sending it to people that it doesn't pertain to.
Exactly, right. Anyone else want to share about that? Anyone like really good at custom tagging that you can share with us on the line in terms of how you have mastered that?
Hey, excuse me, I'll share one thing I do. One thing I do is occupation, like nurses, doctors, teachers, whatever, I'll tag their occupation. So when I do hear about a program from a lender, let's say they have a new nursing program they're rolling out, I'll already have that custom tag set up so I can send all of them one email, that exact program, so they'll know about it. So right. Just keeping track of their occupation is a good one.
Yeah. Have you had any, at this time during the COVID-19, have you had any like feedback and the responses in you doing that at this time?
I haven't. A lender just sent me a program yesterday and I got to read through it, but I haven't, not yet.
Okay, that's okay. So they said, it's okay, the Qantas and everybody else, it says, work more to get a little bit less right now, but the hard work will pay off. That was on the, on this morning's meeting with James Shaw with Pivot Shift Ahead. You're gonna work more and you might feel like all the work that you're doing right now, it's not paying off because, you know, things are just, you know, maybe slow right now for you, but keep working because it will pay off in, you know, short amount of time. Smart View. Are you familiar with the Smart View in your command system and how to create that? This class is not to teach you how to do Smart View, but just also know that you have that option and that opportunity there to be able to reach out to your buyers or your sellers right now, and then just checking in with them. Once you come from, you do your 3 C's, then you do your call to action, and you're reaching out to them, you know, at this time. I just want to share with you, you know, what's happening in your, what's happening in the market right now. And I'd like to just share with you, you know, what fair market prices are in your area and what is happening right now. It's just wanted to share that information with you. Interaction and definitely creating your smart plans. So once again, once you put them into your database, you want to put them into the smart plan. And those of you that are more knowledgeable of command, the Qantas, Jody and Katie and whoever else is on the line, Deidre, Nicole, once you have the contact number and their email address, you can create a smart plan at that point. Am I correct? Are we there? Can y'all hear me?
Yes, I think you have to have like a neighborhood for some of these smart plans though. Like for the long-term or the midterm nurture plan, I think you have to have a neighborhood in them for that.
Okay.
However, you can create smart plans if you get just their birthdays or their home anniversary. You can put them on a smart plan just for those. So there are various smart plans depending on the information that you have.
I appreciate that. Thank you. All right, let's see, let's keep going. Okay, so let's look at this this screen here, and let's kind of talk about going back to custom tags. So in your smart plan, in your command system, once you add them and add the contacts into your system, you can customize a tag for them and create a tag, right? So if you want to color code your buyers as yellow, you can do that, create a custom tag for them. And then once you do that, filter it out. And if you want to reach out to all of your buyers, at this time, you can do that as well. Okay. Any questions on that? All right, let's keep going here. We talked about that. So, this was just they had a class, I think it was last week, and I sat in on the 1-hour session talking about the smart plan for our command system. And if you did not, catch that, I have the video because I was in the class, and it was a session on learning how to create smart plans for the people in our database. And so we got various smart plans that are there. We can put them on a smart plan, monthly neighborhood, bi-weekly, quarterly, midterm, long-term, or 8x8 contact engagement. You can put them on a birthday smart plan if you want to. So you got within your command system all of these tools here that are available. And if you need to, you need that video, I can share that with you as well. And hopefully at some point, the office will offer a session where agents within our office and all those who want to join in can start working on those smart plans as well. So we have definitely, everything else is just a recap at this point. Anything else that we need to share about any ahas at this time? Any ahas? Anything that you want to share in what we have learned? So my question to you is, how has your thinking changed from now that you have joined in this session? How has your thinking changed?
Well, I liked the smart tags about, categorizing, and what I can't see his name, mentioned about categorizing people by occupations, because I hadn't thought about that.
Okay, anyone else?
So
okay, I'm sorry, go on.
Sorry. So this is Sophia. So mine was, I had an aha moment about getting out of the mindset of just calling people and just coming from a place of concern instead of, because my mindset was more of, well, I don't want to call these people and ask for business because we're in the pandemic, everybody's going through a rough time, people have lost their jobs. So my aha was, well, just call and, you know, just see how they're doing, see if they need anything. And like you said, come from a place of care. And because I typically don't feel comfortable with asking for business. And I'm not sure if that's just a mindset thing or if that's just being sympathetic, but I don't feel like it's, my mindset is not there to just be like, well, let me call from a place of concern and then ask for business, because I just feel like, well, most people is going to be like, well, I mean, I'm not really interested in, you know, looking for a realtor or having my house sold or buying a house in this time when I just lost my job for most people. So my aha was just to call from a place of concern, even if I don't have to ask for business, just to make the call.
Mm-hmm. Anyone else? I'm gonna
Yeah,
address that, but I just want people to share right now for a few minutes.
This is Jara. One thing that I had an aha moment about was just getting an accountability partner. I think that's very important for a person like myself that's so headstrong, like somebody that's keeping me on task, especially when I want to achieve such a lofty goal. So making sure that I get an accountability partner.
So how are you gonna do that? And when are you gonna do that?
I actually was gonna, I was gonna call Stephanie or Jody and be like, y'all, it just volunteer y'all. But I'm, you know, I already network with a bunch of ladies, a part of the real estate association. So I'm really just gonna make calls to those people that I know they're doing well and ask them if they don't mind helping me.
All right. All right. Accountability partner is not always your friend, right?
Correct.
Somebody's
I'm okay
gonna
if they're
make
not
you.
my friend.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyone else? Oh. So another question too is, how will your behaviors be different moving forward? How will your behaviors be different moving forward?
Being more consistent.
Mm-hmm.
What does that mean? Like being more consistent? Like, I mean, being more consistent is pretty broad and just for some people, being more consistent might mean, you know, just taking a tidbit, like a small step forward and, you know, just taking another little step ahead. But for you, it might mean that you may just need to do a lot more. So what do you mean for your side? What do you mean by being more consistent?
Well, yesterday I have calendars, but they're on my phone. So I decided yesterday when Deirdre said, get the calendar, the book, the plan, and I have one, but to see it in front of you every day and looking what your day looks like, it helps you to stay on track. So being more consistent and purposeful in following the plan.
Right. So you a planner. I consider this is not the Bible, but I consider this like another, this is like this is something that I don't leave home without. My planner goes, if I get in my car and I realize I don't have my planner, I gotta go back and go get my planner, because this is how I function off of my planner. I cannot function just off of putting stuff in my cell phone. I can't function like that. I have to be able to physically see what I need to do every day and be able to mark it off and scratch it off. And this stuff for some people, I'm like, oh, that's so antiquated. Nobody uses these things anymore. But even top producers still use these things to thrive from. So you have to have a planner. And I know, you know, some people feel like, oh, that's not necessary. That's a mindset thing. And we need to get out of that, how we think and how we see things. So basically, your business plan for 2020, who all had a business plan for 2020? Who was operating from a business plan? Anyone else operating from a business plan? Did you, before the COVID-19, did you have a business plan? Did you have strategic plans of actions in place on how you're going to make your money for this year? What were you going to do? What events that you had planned out to be able to capture and prospect and market and lead generate? All of that now is on hold. And so we have lost time and we have, you know, temporarily lost money. So those things everything has all been pushed back. So what are you going to do right now? That's why they're saying that your business plan for 2020, the one that you had established, if you had one established, you might have to throw it out the window.
Yeah.
Revamp.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. Any thoughts? So my question going back to, how will your behaviors be different moving forward? Stephanie shared. Anyone else?
I'm gonna make sure I use the time blocking. It's something that I use in my corporate job, but not necessarily in my real estate job, but just making sure that I use those same tools that I use to make other people money, to make me some money. So,
all right. So my question to you is, do you know how to time block? Do you know what you need to do? Have you received the instructions and how to manage your time and how to time block appropriately?
I do. I'm just be honest. I just wasn't doing it. I was just lazy.
Okay. Mm-hmm. All right.
You know, that's something I'm changing. That's the mindset I'm changing, is just to make sure that I put that same amount of effort into my own business.
Right. Anyone else want to share? What actions will you, so that's your mindset. So now the question is, what actions will you take going forward? What are you going to do going forward at this point? What actions?
Yesterday when Deirdre was talking and she mentioned the why, and then I started putting the why, and then it led to, okay, so you want to do certain things this year, you know, your why. You have a big why, but then it I guess trickles down to certain things that you want to get done within a short term, and then things that you want to get done long term. So the things that you want to get done short term, how are you going to accomplish them, and then putting things into action so that can come into reality, fruition.
Right. Yes, I agree. Thank you for sharing. What tools and models? This is all about, you know, your mindset and your actions, because those are the two things that have to take place with the shift, your mindset and the actions that you put into place. What tools and models or systems will you definitely use right now? There are some people that are on the line that we haven't heard from, and certainly I would love to hear from you. I'm not trying to put anybody on the spot, but I would love to hear from some different people right now.
I know I want to start implementing the time blocking, and I've taken a class on it previously in the training within KW, and I've tried to do it before, but I was just like she said, I was just being lazy and didn't really go through it 100%. So now, I mean, I have a planner, and I'm about to like take it out and just start putting everything on a calendar, start time blocking, start seeing what needs to be done and what hours and stuff is available. So I'll definitely be doing the time blocking method to get everything done.
So my question is, and I'm not putting you on the spot, Sophia, but this is just for everybody. Can we afford to be lazy right now?
No.
No.
That is 100% no. There's not even a maybe question.
Let's expand on that. What do you mean by no? Why you can't afford to be lazy? You've got the time. You got a little extra time. You don't have to go drop the children off or pick the grandkids up from school, bring